There's been the Me Too movement has happened since the last time I was here. Well, no, it had to happen, Jesus Christ. But, I think it's dying down. I don't know. I think they got everybody. All right? Yeah, so the stories were big in the beginning, like, oh my God, what a bunch of fucking animals. And then they just started tapering off. And about, 6 months in, they just sounded like bad dates. It was like, he was 10 minutes late, the chicken was cold, I think I was raped, career over. What about my side of the story? Fuck your side of the story! You have a dick and balls, we don't want to hear it!
The craziest thing about that Aziz shit, did you guys read the Aziz story? Yeah. Yo, this motherfucker is wild. This is a wild boy right here, bro. This dude got his dick sucked to Seinfeld. You know how much you gotta love comedy to get your dick sucked to Seinfeld? That's pure dialogue, yo. I can't get my dick sucked to these pretzels are making me thirsty. Newman, I can't get my dick sucked to that shit. Fuck that. I get my dick sucked to Fast and the Furious. That shit is built-in birth control. You ever fucked with Fast and the Furious? You getting in there raw, and then all of a sudden you hear Vin Diesel like, family. You're like, oh shit, let me tell you something. All right. You right, Vin? Hey, you right, Vin? Hey, appreciate you, dog. Make another one of them shits.
Let's talk about serious things then. The Me Too campaign.
Yes.
What's wrong with the industry? I mean, are you asking yourself how come all of this is coming?
It's not the industry, honey. It's the whole gender. It's men and women. This is about men and women.
You just called me honey.
Yeah. Because you got to get with this. It's not show business. This is global.
Did you see any of it? Because everyone's saying it was all around and everyone knew about it, but then...
Well, which show? Who are we talking about?
Just things that were going on around in studios and networks.
Honestly, I've never seen, and during the years when I worked on my show, and even in the nightclubs, I mean, a lot of the comedians, there was a lot of activity, let's call it, frivolity, comedians and waitresses and everybody. I mean, men and women, chase after each other, right? Right?
Yes.
Yes, they do. Now, I've never seen it done in a way that was that I thought that's not right.
So you're
what that guy's doing.
So you're surprised with all this Me Too campaign and things that are coming out now?
No, I'm not surprised. But you asked me if I had seen it.
Okay.
So I haven't.
One of them is also actually your friend or someone you worked with, Louis C.K.
Mm-hmm. That's terrible. I mean, these behaviors themselves don't even make sense sexually. It's like, I don't even understand why they would do that.
And is it something that would cause you not to listen to him anymore, not to listen to his material, think it's right that they took him off air?
He stopped working. The problem for him will be, no one will ever look at him without thinking about that. And he knows that. I don't understand the syndrome. Harvey, the showering. What fun is it to shower for somebody? I don't even understand it. Who wants to watch anybody shower? Where's the excitement of that?
Only if it's on a movie set, yeah.
It's a whole world of sexuality that's kind of caught people by surprise. It's like, you're doing what? This is a horrible story. It's not even a good story.
This is like where it's hard to be a man. One lady said, Louis C.K. masturbating in front of me ruined my comedy dreams. Word. Well, then I dare say, madam, you may have never had a dream. Come on, man, that's a brittle spirit.
I just look at it this way. It's like this shit was like a fucking pressure cooker because no one was listening. So in a way, it's deserving on the male side that this is happening, but it's fucking exploding now. But any sort of like, hey, okay, let's find out what happened.
Yeah.
There's none of that.
I've actually heard the argument that we shouldn't break down and explain the degrees and the differences of these accusations. Like I've heard that.
Well, I think that's because there needs to be a corrective first, right? There needs to be a correction. The pendulum, like Bill said, was so far on this end, and everybody's so fucking angry. So now the pendulum's way here, and now with the last thing, with the Aziz story, I think people are starting to go, well, wait a minute. Maybe there's gray areas to this discussion. It's not just...
There's gray areas with everything. If you look at people who created law who are way smarter than me...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's misdemeanors, and there's felonies, there's murder one, there's murder two, there's manslaughter.
People that are in this thing with their anger, especially if they're emotional about it, don't even want to entertain that conversation. They are just like, it's like you're trying to sell somebody like, hey, armed robbery and shoplifting are different, right? And they're saying, no,
it's all the same.
Somebody took something, that's the same.
Yeah, behead them in the public square.
I think you're being unreasonable because you're so emotional, which is a totally fair thing to say. But everybody else who's kind of thinking logically, I think is open to the idea that
the majority of the people are, because anytime I've said that on stage, like there's no like, oh my God, heckling, shouting down, there's no like fucking problems. Same thing when you talk about the war. There hasn't really been any problem, but everybody is afraid to like, it's not good to, when it's this level of emotional reaction.
Yeah.
To just lay back and just be like, just don't get involved, because it's gonna, God, I mean, the thing about a sex thing is if you just get accused of it. I've said for the longest time, like, if you get accused of rape, they shouldn't show your face or name until you're convicted.
Right.
Because once somebody just accuses you of it, you're fucked.
You're fucked.
And
done.
Not to mention, even if you were just accused of it, like, everybody in your own, like, personal life, you work, that's going to get out.
Of course.
And now social media, everyone's going to rat you out anyways, and it's just like, there's no come back from that. And if you're actually innocent, and I've seen people going like, well, the instances of that are really rare. It's like, look them up.
Yeah.
There's enough of them that there should be some sort of thing like that. But I just don't think you can keep anything under a lid anymore. But I really do believe that it's a time for, like, to not be afraid when you're on stage, especially as a comedian. Like, they're just starting to, like, paint. It's just the weirdest thing. Like when I was on stage, I was joking with, it was like this younger crowd, and usually when you get to my age, you start getting 50. It's like you kind of become like the cornball, like, hey, take my wife, please. Your style becomes old. But they are so under a microscope. They act like old people. So. Like, I was at a show last night. There was a couple guys like my age. We're like the edgy guys.
Right.
We should be the cornballs,
right?
Looking at the 20-something-year-olds in the crowd being like, Jesus Christ, these people are going to be running the nation? Oh, my God. Remember back in our day? We just did dick jokes. What are these? I'm not really saying the comedians. I'm just saying the way the crowd.
Yes.
It's like you're on fucking doing a bunch of old people on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
You took a lot of flack for saying in the art of for some things that you said in the Hollywood Reporter, saying that you were kind of glad that the Me Too movement has slowed down, and we don't really know you as a guy who really comments on very much that's going on. So what were you trying to say? Yeah.
Well, I was, print reporters, they ask you questions and they put them all together. What I was talking about was Chris Hardwick, this particular comedian.
Right.
That was a friend of mine. And, if 500 women go against a man, obviously the guy's guilty. But in the Chris Hardwick one, it was one woman against one man.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I was saying that I thought it was good that the pendulum was slowing, and Chris Hardwick has been as rehabilitated as he's going to get. He still tells me he can't walk down the street without people yelling stuff at him.
Yeah.
But that's all I was trying to say.
This is a movement that was, largely shouldered by a kind of receptacle of the salacious.
What do you mean a receptacle of the salacious?
Well, we don't know what's a fact. In many of the cases, salacious is as soon as you call something a movement that is really a series of many individual accusers, victims, accusations, some of which are unfounded. The spirit of much of what has been the Me Too movement is to divide men and women.
The women would say it's united women.
I'm going to say that women that I talk to, not in front of a camera, that I listen to, of all walks of life, that there is a common sense that is not represented at all in the discussion when it comes to the media discussion of it. The discussion where if Sean Penn says this, so-and-so is going to attack him for saying this because of that. I don't want it to be a trend, and I'm very suspicious of a movement that gets glommed onto in great stridency and rage and without nuance. And even when people try to discuss it in a nuanced way, the nuance itself is attacked.
Have you guys ever lived the life of a comedian? Have you lived the life of a fucking rocker? Have you lived the life of a person in the public eye? It's got its perks and it's got its negatives, okay? One of the perks is, for some reason, women lose their fucking mind over certain things. When the movie Motley Crue came out, The Crew, whatever, on Netflix, it opens up with him eating a girl's pussy that was a squirter at a party, and it was, that was Motley Crue. They came over to fuck,
Right.
And Rudy Sarzo said to me, I go, what did you think of the movie? And he goes, I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. He goes, it's just really hard to understand all the Me Too. How come people aren't freaking out more about Me Too? Because that was a different time. That was the 80s. It was a different fucking time. I'm not saying it was okay to rape women or put sleeping pills, and I don't know anything about that. But what went on the road was just, it was mayhem. I've sat here with you many a night. One night, especially up the top of the corner here, when I was still living up the corner and we talked, I was shaking. I'm telling you of all the fucking crazy encounters you have as a young comic on the road and how crazy they really are, And you can look at it from two ways. You look at it from any way you want. I mean, it's a weird way of living, and now we're seeing it through the years with Harvey and fucking Cosby. Now people's eyes are getting a little bit more woken to what happens out here. And, so you get mad at a guy like Cosby and Harvey, but there's another side to the story, and that's the side of meeting a celebrity or sleeping with a celebrity or getting help from that celebrity. Okay? And let me tell you something. I always knew, for some reason, I got an early idea early on that nobody could help you in this business. I got it figured out that the people I liked all stood on that stage alone, and that really nobody could help you. I mean, it's the craziest thing that you think that somebody could shine light on you. Yes, somebody could say, Diana Ross could walk into a room and say, I like the Jackson 5, but the Jackson 5 still have to do their work. Do you know what I'm saying? And once you realize that, But for some reason, a lot of women come out here. They're a little on the hot side, you know. They know it. Oh, there you go, a little garlic fart for Lee. I told him one was coming.
You spray that shit all the time.
Wait till you gotta wait for this. This will kill Corona, Corona's cousin, and every fucking body.
I think that's where Corona got started.
Forget
the bad in Wuhan.
This will kill everybody in Wuhan.
Oh.